Hello, welcome back to Constituent Marking with Fred Long on Proof Text. And I am Fred Long, and we're looking at 1 Corinthians 14:28. We're nearing the end of chapter 14, so hope you hang in there with me. And as we delve into this text, we're going to begin by, I'll read it, translate it real quickly, then we'll start doing some marking. So, ean de me e diarmenev tes sigato en ecclesia eav to de lalito ke to theo. All right, I like to start by noticing connectors. And right away I say an aeon de. The aeon is starting a subordinate clause, so I put a bracket around it at the front. De is marking new development, distinctive development. So I'll put new develop. And then that subordinate clause ends after diarmenev tes. And then the main clause would seem to follow. The sigato en ecclesia. Sigato is from sigao. So the sigato is a third person imperative form. This is an alpha contract verb. So sigao means to be quiet in the church or silent. And I know there's a big difference between the two, but you have to work that out. What exactly is being meant by that sigao. Sigato here is third person imperative form. Let them be quiet or silent in the church. So that's the main clause. This is the conclusion of the condition. The supposition, the if part, the protasis, is if there is no translator. So may is a negative adverb. It's negating the a. The a there, which I'm looking at right now, that a is actually a subjunctive form of the verb to be. So it's a third singular. If there is no hermeneut, diarmenev tes, if there's no translator. If there's no translator. So that's a verb, a noun that construes like an occupation or capacity of action. So like mathetes, prophetes, diarmenev tes. It's someone that does something, and this doing of something is translating, interpreting. So if there is no translator or interpreter, let him be silent in the church. Okay, so the de is adding new development here. The aeon works with the subjunctive form of the verb to be. That's from imi right there. The a, third singular. It's working with a present imperative. So it's present active imperative third singular, which is the equivalent of like a present time frame. And so I think this is a general truth condition. So whenever I see a conditional sentence, I'm wondering what kind of condition it is. And I would consider this one a general truth condition. Present general truth. Present general truth. So this is like a rule, a rule. This is how it should go. All right, so let him be quiet or silent in the church. And then we have an addition. So this, the second part of verse 28 would be marked as new development with the de. Evalto is an indirect object. So eato de lalito ke to theo. Okay, so here we have then another sentence that's added to it, and it's a command as well from laleo, third singular, present active imperative. Let him speak eavto, to himself and to God. Okay, so this is what it means. I think it's a further explanation of what it means to be silent or quiet in the church. As an alternative to speaking up in the church, this person is to let him speak to himself and to God. Okay, so thinking about it, in antiquity, speaking, I think, was normally understood as a vocalization, not as an internal dialogue. That we know that we can have, right? We think and inside of our minds, brain, we process things. So I'm thinking that this verb sagao, up above, which I guess I'll put in pink, that this indeed means like to be quiet, not completely silent, because this person is supposed to be speaking to himself and to God, but must do so in a quiet way. So I think that's kind of what it means, unless this is the person is supposed to remove themselves from the church setting, the assembly setting. So that's kind of interesting to think about. And this is a practice that tongue speakers do often, is they will speak quietly, but you can still hear them. So I don't know. I think I'm a little bit torn by that, because it can be distracting, quite honestly, because you can still hear them. They're being earnest. Obviously, they're trying to be fervent in their spirit and praying. So I don't want to judge the intentions of people, but looking at this verse, I think it may imply in the same setting, let him speak to himself and to God. So I'd want to look into that a little bit more. I think in the ancient world that speaking was out loud, but it's kind of hard to reconcile the being quiet or silent with the speaking. How can these be happening at the same time, particularly if sagao means to be quiet or silent? But I think there are studies that show that it doesn't mean absolute silence. And so that may imply that there is kind of a mumbling or a quietness in the speaking, or that Paul is envisioning that there's another occasion where this person can speak to himself and to God. Yeah. All right. Well, we're looking at these verses, translating them, marking them up, and doing a little bit of thinking about how they are working, what they mean. So the second part, we definitely see these datives of indirect object. That's why I put a dotted underlined underneath himself, reflexive pronoun, and then to God, and the ke connecting those two. So that's how I would do that. And hope you're finding this helpful, and look forward to having you watch and listen next time. Take care.